Charlie, I'm going to play for you call A. This is a call on April 19th, 2016, 2:09 p.m. It's the first call with your mom after the bump. Okay?
So, if have time tonight after work or some other time in the very near future, and you need to speak with them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone write a letter to you or something?
That's some paperwork. Hand delivery.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was. But I'm going to need to talk to you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I have to figure out something. Control is looking wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now in Thailand, Chile, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
The boys can finish their piano lesson around 4-ish, and the traffic at the end, they take a ride with them upstairs.
Did Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's Medicare? Is it IRS?
The IRS people, they kind of bother you sometimes, but fortunately not me.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way.
Okay.
Okay? And
Just when you know that? Is it all when you?
No. So let me just talk to you later. And
What is it? Is it a health okay?
yeah.
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both.
What's that?
Probably the two of them. So we probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
All right.
So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the days for a while, okay?
You're going to take the boys up there?
Home, if you can get it for about 7, you can get it.
So it's ordered you talk to me today.
You or tomorrow, I'm talking.
All right. Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's office. You want to come up? Oh yeah, it's really late.
I'm just concerned that I can have to get up there and get back in time for Wendy to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little earlier than
Can I ask you a question? Whose paperwork has some?
I see them, that's great. Especially hands with hands and today.
And he was was it anonymous or?
No, oh no, not anonymous. Not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it.
All right, whatever it is. I'm silly, but if you want,
I wouldn't bother you, trust me.
Yeah, I know. You want me to come down to see you tomorrow? I actually have the day off.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually starts later tomorrow. He goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So
whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the IRS, but I will.
I just would like you to review it and give me some input as to what your thoughts are. Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 is good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12. He stops at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
All right, I'll come down in the afternoon. That way I can hang out with you.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Let me come down.
Okay.
Charlie, where are you when this call happens?
I'm at Skyline Chili, eating a bowl of chili.
Your mom says that she had some paperwork delivered to her Do you have any clue what she's talking about?
I have no clue what she's talking about.
What do you guess?
I thought it was the IRS.
What else do you guess?
Is everyone's health okay?
Do you think it has anything to do with either your extortion or Professor Markel's murder at this point in time?
No, not at all.
Why are you asking so many questions?
But my mom, I know my mom my whole life. She's talking weird on the phone. It's like something's obvious. I can tell something's bothering her, but she's beating around the bush.
Now, your mom says, you say, does it involve me or other people? And your mom responds, well, probably both of us. Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. And I want to focus on those statements. Okay? When she says that to you, did you have any clue what she was talking about?
No, I think I asked her a few more questions after that.
Now, as the calls progress, do you know what she's talking about?
By the time I got to the end of the third call, I knew exactly what she was talking. I felt like I knew pretty much what she was talking about.
By that point in time, and I want to go back to this line, does it involve me or other people? Her answer, well, probably both of us, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. By the end of figuring out what this was, what did you understand her to be saying here?
By the time I got down to the third call, I realized fully what she was talking about in this call, in that she's getting extorted.
And so why the two of us?
She knows I was extorted 2 years earlier, and it's the same people that are coming to extort her for money. So she's trying to say like it's the same thing that happened to you is happening to me.
Okay. And just to be clear, about a month and a half after the extortion of you, who did you tell?
My mom. She's the only person I told.
Now, when she says it's probably the both of us, probably the two of us, you understand the state's theory is that this murder conspiracy was, in addition to Katie, Sigfredo, and Luis Rivera, you, your mom, your dad, your sister. Do you understand that?
I do now, yeah.
She doesn't say probably the four of us, does she?
No, she does not.
She doesn't say all of us, does she?
No.
She says the two of us, right?
Yeah.
Now, the bump, what was the bump?
The bump was an extortion from Latin King gang members. Or actually, it was the FBI pretending to be Latin King gang members.
Now, on this call, there's discussion about your dad's schedule. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Why was it important? Why do you learn later that it was important what your dad's schedule was?
Because my dad never knew what happened to me. And my mom was going to want to talk to me when my dad wasn't around.
If we could go to B, which is a call right after, and it's you calling your mom back.
Sure.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Good. Is it me not paying the Sun Pass?
No.
Just kidding. No, listen, what was I going to say? Do you mind paying my Brown and Brown insurance?
No. Okay.
Okay. Because I'm going to just stick with the same company. Yeah, but the thing is this, if you stay with the same company for 3 years, they can then try to bump you down into a lower bracket.
Oh, okay. So it's a good idea to do that.
So I might as well stay with them and then hope that that's actually true, that they can do what they said about putting it in a lower bracket.
Okay. So you want me to call Pam Hall?
Yeah, because I told her that my mom would call her because she handles like that stuff at the office.
Okay.
And then just send them in a check. Because they have to have it before, I want to say the 29th or something.
Okay.
And
I'll do that now.
do that. And listen, whatever it is, whatever someone sent you, I wouldn't worry too much about anything. I mean, so someone can write whatever they want to write, someone can say whatever they want to say, and I'm not worried. So, was it another bad review on Yelp?
There's reviews coming in. Sometimes they are bad reviews. This is a particularly bad one.
So I'm not being sued.
No.
Okay. All right. Honestly, whatever it is, and I wouldn't just judging from what you're making it sound like. I wouldn't stress it out too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, people can always write. People can always say anything they want. It doesn't. If someone says you're a bad dentist, it doesn't mean you're a bad dentist. So. But anyway, I will. I'll definitely come down. It actually works out perfectly because I had the day off.
Okay. So I'll make you take me out to dinner. So make sure you bring cash with you.
All right.
Okay.
Do I need to bring cash?
Yeah, if you take me out to dinner, then I can.
I want to pause it there. You call your mom back and you start talking about the Sun Pass. Does that have anything to do with this case, the Sun Pass? Is it code?
Sun Pass is not code.
Why do you mention the Sun Pass?
Because a couple weeks earlier, my Sun Pass had gotten stolen out of the car from a valet. I didn't realize it. And my parents were getting all these bills, so they make a big deal about little things sometimes. So whatever it was, I was making fun of my mom. I thought she was like a small issue, like a Sun Pass thing.
And you then start talking about Brown and Brown Insurance. What's Brown and Brown Insurance? Is that code?
No. That was actually the reason I called her back. Is on the last call I forgot to tell her that I had to pay that insurance. Otherwise, if my insurance lapses, they'll cancel the policy, and it was due. So it was due by the 29th.
You then start making more guesses. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm still at a loss for what's going on.
You bring up Yelp. You bring up getting sued, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, any clue whatsoever what this is about at this point in time?
No, she just sounded really weird on the first call.
Okay. Then we get to the part that we just stopped. And she says to you, I will make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you. At that point in time, what happens to your demeanor? You can hear it on the call. What happens?
I stutter and I repeat back to her what she just said. I'm like, I got to bring cash with me. Like it was so out of place.
Why did that happen at that point in time?
I think she was trying to hint to me that she's getting extorted.
So what was odd about you bringing cash to dinner?
I put everything I possibly can on my credit card. That's how I've ended up saving up so much cash. But.
And let's hear how you respond.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this? I should bring cash. I don't have much cash to bring.
No, I'll see if I have money for dinner. Let's see what I can do.
Was it? Can I ask you? Is someone blackmailing you?
No, it's just a good possibility.
You think someone's trying to blackmail you?
Maybe.
No. That's crazy. Is there? I don't know what blackmail is for, but is there any way I can see you? You can't come up here at all.
It's going to be difficult if they don't finish the parent teacher wouldn't use for the school. And even if I came up there and got there at 5:15, it would still be tough to, necessarily get back here in time for the them up.
Was this, can I just ask you this? Is this anything government related, or is this like whack job writing a letter to you?
Like who?
Is it like a whack job writing a letter to you, or is this government related?
No, I don't know if it's government related.
So it's not government or military or anything like that?
No.
Who was the letter addressed to?
Me.
To you?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Did it have a, do you know who sent it to you?
That was a pretty good idea. But, you know, just talk to them later. Either, I would like to, I will definitely, I just don't know if I'm going to get back here in time for them to
Is it, so whoever sent you the letter sent you an anonymous letter? Did they sign it? So someone showed up, was it like by a process server?
What I did was,
It wasn't. Where did they come to you at?
when I walked out of the building, and they were out, and I just both drivers at the airtime,
Right?
and I walked in about 5 feet from pressing the button so that I could cross the street to get the door said to me,
Right?
and just to get that on the side there. Yeah. Okay, Katie, so you say
So let's talk about this call. You ask your mom after she tells you to bring cash, is someone blackmailing you? And she says it's a good possibility. Now what are you thinking?
I'm starting to evaluate, you know, I still don't have an idea, but I was extorted 21 months earlier. So I'm starting to evaluate, is it related to that, or what could it be?
And are you growing more concerned?
Very, yeah.
And you ask her who the letter was addressed to. Why do you ask her that?
Because I was the one who was extorted 21 months earlier. I had no idea why they'd be going to my mom. If it was related to me.
You then mention the possibility of seeing your mom tonight, and she doesn't want to see you tonight. Why doesn't she want to see you?
Because she's watching the boys, and she didn't want Wendy to ask her, where were you? And have to tell her, you know, what's going on.
Now, again, I thought, according to the state's theory, Wendy is a co-conspirator in this case, right?
That's part of their theory.
Now, you then say on this, is the person threatening you or anything? Why are you asking that?
Because on the night of the 18th, I was told if you don't pay in 48 hours, you're going to get killed. So I was trying to compare it to what happened to me to see if is this related to what happened to me.
You later tell her that your advice to her is going to be to go to the police. Why would your advice to her to be to go to the police at this point in time?
Because I don't think it's related to what happened to me. When I asked my mom, are they threatening you? She was like, well, maybe. You never know how to interpret these things. And like it was very clear what the threat was to me on the 18th. So like, okay, then it's something unrelated to, at that level of seriousness. Maybe it's something involving code enforcement or OSHA or somebody messing with them. So I was just like, all right, just go to the police.
Now, towards the end of the call, you say it wouldn't be the first time I'm being threatened. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
What were you referring to?
When I was extorted 21 months earlier, I was threatened. So I was trying to compare it to that to see is it possibly related to what happened to me.
At the end of this call, do you know what is going on yet?
No, I don't know what's going on yet.
Let's go to the third call. which is 12 minutes later. And this is C. This is at 3 o'clock p.m. between you and your mom.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, sorry about that. Quick question for you. Well, one thing I was going to tell you is obviously don't talk about things in the apartment or any place.
Oh, obviously.
The other thing is, was the person black, white, Hispanic,
What?
and they just came up to you and they said your name and they handed you a piece of paper?
No, no, didn't hand it right away. First spoke to me for a while and then handed it to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they wearing hats, sunglasses, or?
No, nothing. Nothing. Describe them to a T.
What's that? You could describe them?
To a T. No, nothing.
Was the person nervous or were they angry or?
No, calm as could be. Totally calm.
That's really crazy. Are they trying to ask for money or something?
Yeah.
But if someone trying to, I mean, listen, if it's something like that, I'll probably like go to the police, but I'll
They have to, but they'd rather talk to you first and then.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, there's scumbags out there all the time that try to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
So,
That's why I just want you to see, because I don't want, not your father upset.
don't say anything to your dad until I take a look at it. Your dad flies off the
Absolutely.
on everything.
That's what I suggested, after he goes to work tomorrow.
Did the person give you any kind of like time frame or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's clear. It's clear what's wanted.
What is it? Kind of exactly what they ask for?
I don't know, this TV is probably about 5.
They asked you for $5,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then she, girlfriend. Hi, Sandra. Come on in. Good. How are you? Good. Okay.
That's crazy. Let me take a look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go from there.
Lincoln, your turn. Lincoln's going first. Okay, do that one. Yeah, that would be good.
Now, in the 12 minutes before this call, had you started to put the pieces together and figure out what was going on a little bit?
A little bit. I was thinking about the first call and the second call, and the more I thought about it, I thought this is related to what happened to me. Somehow this is related to it.
And what does your attention shift to in the very beginning of this call?
I wanted to compare it to what happened to me 21 months earlier to see are these the same people that are doing this.
And so the first question you ask, were they black, white, or Hispanic? Why do you ask that question?
Because I always suspected that it was Sigfredo that did it. I mean, process in my head, that was my first guess, and that's who I would have guessed it was. When I met him, he was an angry guy, and I was trying to see, is this somebody fitting his description that's maybe coming to my mom and doing this?
Why do you ask her? Did they give you a time frame?
Because that night I was told you got 48 hours to pay up. I'm trying to compare it to, is this person telling my mom you got 48 hours to pay up?
Now, She says no, but it is clear what is wanted. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And then she says, this TV is probably about 5. Now, before we get there, in the very start of the call, you say don't talk about anything in the apartment or any place.
Sure.
Why do you say that to your mom?
Well, that was one of the first things I told her when I told her what had happened to me when I got extorted and was picking up the checks from her, is to never talk about it with anybody, not talk about it on the phone, don't talk in the apartment, is that there's always a chance that the police are listening.
And what would you be afraid the police were listening to if you didn't do a murder?
I never wanted anyone to know I was extorted.
Why didn't you want the police to know you were extorted? What would happen if the police knew you were extorted?
They would come talk to me.
And what would happen if they came and talked to you? What did you think would happen at that point?
If they came to talk to me, if I decided to talk to them, I'd have to tell them what happened to me. And if I told them what happened to me, my life would be in danger. These people would come find me, they'd find someone in my family. I mean, they don't care.
Now, going back to the TV comment, where she says, this TV is probably about 5. Did you have code words with your mom that TV, I think they said, do you have that sheet what TV equals? Did TV, was it a code word?
There is absolutely no code word involving TV whatsoever.
Now, by the way, your response isn't, no, it's an air conditioner. Your response is, they want $5,000? Was there any code there?
Not at all. I just wanted to clarify what was being said to me, to repeat it back.
Your mom then brings up that they brought up an ex-girlfriend. Do you remember that?
I do.
Now, Ms. Kappelman, in her cross-examinations, went through how you had several ex-girlfriends after Katie Magbanua. You recall that?
I do.
Did any of your other ex-girlfriends become involved in a situation where you were extorted?
I only had one ex-girlfriend whose friends extorted me.
So once she brings up your ex-girlfriend, did you have a pretty good idea of what was going on?
Oh, I knew exactly what was going on at this point. Well, almost exactly what was going on.
By the way, also during this call, you again remind your mom not to say anything to your father, right?
Yes, I did.
At the end of this call, what do you decide to do?
I'm going to give Katie a call.
And why are you going to reach out to Katie?
I want to see if her friends extorting my mom that she knows of, because she sure knew what had happened to me.
We're going to now publish D, Your Honor, already in evidence.
You may.
And this is a call between you and Katherine Magbanua at 4:27 p.m. on that same day, correct?
Yes.
You want to use your headphones?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
No, is there someplace you can talk to me?
So what?
Are you any place that you can talk to?
Talk right now.
What's that?
Just talk right now. Talk.
Okay, can you go somewhere where it's not loud when I'm talking to you?
I can't. It's like loud, like I can't get out.
Okay, I'm trying to walk outside and talk to her now. I can't even fucking get outside. Alright, wait, I don't know. Alright, somebody, hang on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear.
Okay, I just want you to listen to me. I'll be able to talk to you in person when I see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom walked the kids. I only heard part of the story,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna go down there and talk to her tomorrow to find out what's going on.
Okay.
If she didn't want to elaborate,
Uh-huh.
but she said that someone approached her on the street,
Uh-huh.
called her by name,
Mm-hmm.
handed her an envelope with something in it,
Yeah.
and somebody was. She really wouldn't go into detail, and I have no idea what this is in reference to,
Uh-huh.
but something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for some money.
What?
Yeah. So I said, well, yeah. I'm like, first when she was saying, I thought it was like something involving the IRS or a payment
Yeah.
or something like that. So I don't even know what the fuck it's about at all.
So somebody just like bumped into your mom like that?
Well, they came up to her on the street after she dropped the kids off at school. I guess she brought them to school. I don't even know. But it must know her routine. It must know who she is.
Yeah.
They walked up to her. They called her by name.
Uh-huh.
They handed her an envelope.
Uh-huh.
And she said they spoke to her for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then she said they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend. I have no fucking clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And then they explained that they needed to be paid for money.
For what?
I don't know. My mom didn't even want to talk to me on the phone. Like, well,
But like, did she see the person? Was she like, you should have like...
oh yeah, I saw her on the street after she dropped the kids off at school. I guess she brought them to school. I don't even know. But it must know her routine. It must know who she is.
Yeah.
They walked up to her. They called her by name.
Uh-huh.
They handed her an envelope.
Uh-huh.
And she said they spoke to her for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then she said they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend. I have no fucking clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And then they explained that they needed to be paid for money.
For what?
I don't even know. My mom didn't even want to talk to me on the phone. Like, well,
But like, did she see the person? Was she like, you should have like...
oh yeah,
asked her something?
that's what I said. I said someone's going to try to blackmail you or something.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. You like that.
I said you got to go straight to the police. She's like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't want to talk about it. I go, well, take a picture and send me what it is. She's like, I just want you to see the person. So I'm going to go there. I can't even fucking go there today because I won't get out of work until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So she's like, just.
So who's like stalking your mom?
I don't even fucking know. I don't know what's going on, what my mom's involved. I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. I mean, yeah.
Look what I'm doing.
Let me pause it right there. You say, and I quote, I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom.
I did say that.
What were you asking her?
Are your friends extorting my mom that you know of? Are they up to this?
Now, during this call, you say, I have no idea what this is in reference to. Why do you say that to Katie?
I'm calling her up and talking about something that she'd asked me to never talk about, and I never planned on talking about it. So I wanted to let her know that I wasn't setting her up, and that I needed her help. That's why I was calling her up.
And you make reference to an ex-girlfriend, but you're kind of wishy-washy whether she's the ex-girlfriend. Why?
Because I was implying it was her, but I didn't want her to feel like I was setting her up.
She says to you, when you say, I mean, you didn't have anything to, you didn't do anything with my mom. She says, what would I do with your mom? And you say, just checking.
Yep.
Katie seems surprised on this call.
Very.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel good. It made me feel like it wasn't her friends that were doing it. I mean, she knew when it happened last time. She definitely wasn't acting surprised.
What was your level of concern at this point in time?
I was probably medium. I mean, I was still pretty concerned. My mom didn't sound right on the phone.
Now, there's a call that occurs after this call that is not in evidence, where Katie calls you back. Do you recall what Katie wanted you to do when she called you back?
She wanted me to go down there that night to see my parents.
And did she seem very concerned?
She was extremely concerned when she called me back.
Did you go to see your mom that night?
No, I finished work probably after 10, and I went down there the next afternoon.
Okay, so let's talk about the next day. So just to be clear, the bump happens and these calls happen on April 19th, 2016, right?
Yes.
We're now at April 20th. Where did you meet your mom?
I met her in the lobby of the building.
And did you go anywhere with her?
Yeah, we went for a short walk and ended up sitting on a bench.
What time approximately did you get to Miami and see your mom?
I'd say like 1:30ish.
Okay. Why did you meet her then?
Because she wanted to wait for my dad to go to work.
Where did when you walked to this bench, it's outside of a restaurant called Monty's, right? Not far from a restaurant called Monty's?
Yeah, it's right next to Monty's, actually.
Did you notice anyone following you?
No.
As you sit here today, do you know that you were being followed?
Today I do, yeah.
Okay. Now, I think State's Exhibit 54 has been put in evidence. It's a picture of you and your mom on that bench outside of Monty's. Is that a fair depiction of where you were?
Yeah, we were sitting.
There's been testimony, I think, by Special Agent Sanford that you and your mom were whispering or trying not to be heard. Is that testimony true?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted some privacy for sure.
And how was your mom acting?
She was very scared.
What did she tell you?
Well, she told me that she went to go pick the boys up from school, and that this really big guy came over to her and said that you've been helping out Katie and Tuto, and my brother Tato is going through a hard time, and he's incarcerated, and my brother Tato did a big favor for you, and you need to do what's right. You need to take care of my brother Tato. My mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the guy handed her a copy of an article, and it had $5,000 written on it, and it also had a cell phone written on it.
At this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever who Tato was?
No, I've never heard of Tato in my life.
Okay, so let me make sure that we're all on the same page. You knew who Tuto was, right?
Tuto is Sigfredo Garcia.
But you had no idea of anyone named Tato or Luis Rivera, correct?
Never heard of that name before.
Okay. Did your mom show you the paper that was given to her?
Yes, she did.
Do you recall if you took the paper with you or whether you wrote down the phone number from the paper?
I don't know whether I took the paper with me or I just took a piece of paper and wrote the phone number down to the paper. One of the two, but I did have the number with me when I left.
Okay. Now, at this point in time, when you're meeting with your mom, what was she concerned about?
I mean, she was concerned that she was going to get hurt, and that they were going to hurt her, and then someone else in the family was going to pay. and she wanted to go to the police.
What did you tell your mom in response? What was your theory at this point in time?
I was telling my mom, this is so different than what happened to me. I said, it could actually. I was actually thinking it could have been Sigfredo Garcia, because him and Katie were in this explosive fight, and I always suspected that it was him, and that he's now extorting my mom, and that's what it was. So I thought it could be that. That scared my mom a lot. But then I said, what, this is probably the police. I said, it's, they're not telling you 48 hours or you're going to get killed. They're not hiding who they are for the first, even at that point, I only suspected Sigfredo. This guy's not even hiding who he is. He's not wearing a hat. He's not wearing glasses. He's not trying to conceal himself. The first time I wasn't given a cell phone number. This time they're giving cell phone numbers. They're giving names. They're giving all this information. I'm like, Mom, I think this is the police.
What did you tell your mom you were going to do?
I told her that I was going to go ahead and go talk to Katie and see if she thinks that this is possibly, if this is Sigfredo, who I was suspected, and if it is, see if she could get him to stop.
Now, did your mom during this meeting tell you anything about your dad?
Yeah.
What did she say?
She was really worried that her safety was an issue now, and my dad's with her all the time, and she's like, look, I know you don't want me to say anything to Dad, but I have to say something to him. Like, this has gone too far. I can't not. So I told her, I said, if you tell him, you got to promise not to say anything to Wendy. Please do not let him go to the police. Like, this is you're gonna put my life at risk. You're gonna put your life at risk. Like, let me just figure out if Katie could get these people to stop, if she's related to them somehow, and identify them and get them to stop.
Why were you so adamant that she not tell Wendy?
I thought Wendy would go to the police, and I thought my dad would too, but my mom swore that she'd be able to get him not to go.
What did you tell your mom about what you would do with your dad after she told him?
I said, after you tell Dad what's going on, I said, I'll be happy to have him come over to my house, or I'll meet him. I'm sure he's going to have a whole bunch of questions, and I'll talk to Dad tomorrow.
Now, after you left your mom, what did you do next?
I left, and then I drove up to see Katie. She was probably working she was working for a real estate company, and it was about 15 minutes away from my parents' place.
And I think we heard the calls. I'm not going to play them again. Did you call her to find out the address and where to meet her?
I got the address, and then I called her again as I was pulling into the plaza, because I'd never been there before, and she walked out of the office that she was working at.
Okay. Now, when you got to her, by the way, where she was working, was it in a strip mall?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there, where was she?
She was standing in front of the I think it was Optimar Realty. She had just come outside so she could wave me down.
And did you go straight into the restaurant, or did something happen before you went into the restaurant later?
She walked over to the car. I pulled up into a parking spot. She walked over to the car. I wanted to talk to her, so I said, hop in the car. I need to talk to you.
Now, did you know that you were being followed?
No, not at all.
When she got in the car, what did you learn, and what happened?
Well, she asked me what happened to my mom, and I told her, and I said, do you think this is T? I said, well, I said, was T behind what happened to me? And she looked at me. She said, yes.
And what did you ask her about the information your mom had received when she was approached on the street?
I asked her if she thought that this was T, Do you think he's doing this to my mom? You know, because you guys are fighting. Like a week or so earlier, they had this explosive fight because she saw his phone and some girl was sending her him text messages of a tattoo that she just got at like 3 a.m. So they were like breaking up, and now that my mom's getting extorted and she's having a fight with him, I'm suspecting that it's him.
Do you bring up the name Tato?
Yes.
What happened when you brought up the name Tato?
I said, have you ever heard of some guy Tato? Like, I thought it was a joke that there's a Tuto and a Tato. Like, have you ever heard of Tato? And she started talking.
What did she say?
She said, yeah, I know Tato. Tato is Tuto's best friend. And she said, he's a bad dude. He's the head of the Latin Kings. She said, they went up to Tallahassee, and he's the one who rented a car, and he's the one who did this to Dan. And off my head's like, I'm freaking out because this is the guy that's now extorting my mom. And I'm like, Katie, is this guy incarcerated? Like, she's like, yeah. I'm like, does he have brothers? She said he's got like 4 or 5 brothers, but he's got a couple hundred brothers in the Latin Kings in Miami.
Let's stop there for a second. So why did you ask her if he was incarcerated?
Because the guy who came up to my mom said, my brother Tato is incarcerated. He's going through a hard time. And he needs your help. You need to take care of him the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuto.
Now, when Katie is telling you that there is a Tato, that he's the head of the Latin Kings, that he's incarcerated, and you know he has brothers, what starts going through your mind?
Holy shit, this is real. Like this is real extortion, and it's happening again.
What does Katie tell you about what happened in Tallahassee and who did what?
She told me that T was high on drugs and got fast food. And
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second just to make it clear to the jury. I'm going to ask you, I know she used their nicknames.
Yeah.
Okay? Make that clear. But for the purposes of today, let's use their names so that there's no confusion. Okay?
So
I understand in the car she used nicknames, either Tato, Tuto, or T. But just for the purposes of today, use their names.
Sure.
Okay? What did she tell you about who did what in Tallahassee?
She said that Sigfredo was high on drugs at the hotel, and that Luis Rivera was the one who shot Dan.
Now, did she tell you that Tato was also behind your extortion, or no?
She said that Sigfredo brought him to go do this, and that it was he got paid, but it was the extorter was Sigfredo.
Did she describe to you? You said she described to you about a rental car. Did she describe to you anything about the payments the next day?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She said when she brought the money, she met up with them, and she gave the money to Sigfredo and him, and that she didn't touch any of it, and that she didn't take a single dime for herself or anything like that.
Now, when you're hearing this in the car, by the way, how long do you think you were in the car for?
10 to 15 minutes, probably closer to 10.
How are you feeling, and what do you now want to do when you're in the car? You've just told your mom that you think it's the police, that it's all going to be okay. Now you've heard that there is a real Tato. How are you feeling, and what are you thinking about doing at this point in time?
I'm freaking out because I thought it was Sigfredo. Then I'm hearing all the stuff about this guy Tato, his name is Luis Rivera. Everything seeming real. I was extorted. Now my mom's getting extorted. Katie's telling me she doesn't think it's Tato or his people. He wouldn't do it like this. He would have done it the way it happened to me. She's telling me that she thinks it's a copycat of one of Tato's, someone who knows Tato, and is doing a copycat on him and doing their own extortion, or it's probably she thinks it's the police.
Okay. Now, how is she acting in the car?
She's upset. She's very upset.
And you've told her that they used her name, correct?
Yes.
What do you decide to do after she tells you this bombshell information?
Well, I mean, I had more questions than answers when I got done talking to her in the car. I was more confused than ever. And I had told my mom I'm going to talk to Katie and see if her friend is behind this and if she can get him to stop. And now it's like open the door to all these other possibilities and scenarios of what it could be and what to do. So Katie was the only person on the planet that I could talk to about this and see if I could try to get it to stop. So I said, Katie, you want to go inside and get some coffee? And I thought I'd be able to talk to her more and try to see what are we supposed to do.
Now, we know you like to talk. How about when you're scared and trying to figure things out?
I mean, I was freaking out. And I'm trying to figure things out by talking out different scenarios out loud, thinking if it's this, we do this, or if we do this, what'll happen, or if we do this, what'll happen. And that's why it's a lot of it's very jumbled up, because I'm all over the place.
Okay. So you decide to go inside and get coffee. Katie agrees with you. And is that when you go into the restaurant called, and I always I pronounce it wrong, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Dolce Vita?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When you went into the restaurant, who did you think was behind it? Well, let me start by saying something else. You've seen the audio of you in that restaurant, right? With Katie.
Yes.
Before that audio started, had you met with Katie in the restaurant for about 20 or 30 minutes?
We've been in there about a half hour talking.
So that audio doesn't capture anything in the beginning of your conversation, right?
Yes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the conversation. Obviously, it's many years ago. You're not going to remember word for word what was said. But generally, what was Katie telling you, and what were you telling Katie?
Katie was saying that it's the police. And I didn't care if it was the police. I was there because it was a bad guy. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is my family really in danger, and what should we do? And if they are in danger, what should we do?
Did you know that law enforcement, at some point in the conversation, started to record you?
No, I thought we were alone.
Now, your conversation with Katie in the restaurant, how were you talking? Were you talking freely or carefully?
No, I always spoke to Katie carefully.
Why was it so important for you to talk carefully to Katie in this restaurant?
Whenever I spoke to Katie, I needed her help. So I never wanted her to feel like I was trying to set her up or set her friends up, and in that regard. So every time I said something or phrased something, I was always really careful in how I spoke to her.
And again, at this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever that Katie was part of the extortion of you?
No, I did not think she was ever a part of it.
Now, the first thing that is caught on the recording is if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
What were you saying here, and what was it in context to of what had been said before?
Okay, directly before that, Katie was talking about it being the police and that she thinks it's the police. And I'm like, it's fine if it's the police. Like, we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence. Like, if we had anything to do with this, I'd be going to the airport right now if what you're saying is it's the police. Like, they're not going to have evidence to show that we did something that we didn't do.
Charlie, without getting into all the details that I did with Agent Sanford, this communication at Dolce Vita happened in 2016. You were arrested in 2022. When did you know that the state thought that you had participated in the murder of Professor Markel?
When the probable cause affidavit was released.
And when was that affidavit released approximately?
I think it was leaked to the media, and I saw it in August of 2016.
Did you ever try to flee the country
Never.
after August 2016?
Never.
Why not?
Because I wasn't part of a murder. They weren't going to have any evidence to show I was part of a murder.
Now, you say during Dolce Vita, one second, Your Honor, I'm sorry, lost my spot. Is Dolce Vita a bit of an argument between you and Katie?
Yeah, you could say that.
And what is the argument about?
She's taking the position that it's the police and you can't pay the police. And I wasn't as focused on the police as I was focused on, well, if it's a bad guy, what do we do? Like, we can't go to the police.
Why were you not focused on it being the police?
Because I didn't do a murder. I wasn't worried if it was the police.
Now, if it was a bad guy, what did you want her to do? What did you want Katie to do?
I wanted her to reach out to them and see if she could get them to stop. You know, maybe threaten them. Maybe she could pay them. Maybe she could tell them she's going to pay them. It's a one-time thing. I want to see if she could identify them and get them to stop.
Why did you want her to do that as opposed to you doing that?
She knew who the original people were. She knew Sigfredo. She knew this guy, Luis Rivera. And she'd be the only person who'd be able to identify them and get them to stop, and maybe they'd be afraid of her.
Now, throughout this recording, several times you try to sound tough. Is that the case?
Absolutely.
You say, I carry a gun on me, right?
Yes, I said that.
I mean, someone comes up to me. If someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot them. Someone come up to me asking for money in my house. When the fucking police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his fucking driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. We'll take a break right there. Why are you talking tough?
I want to let her know, like, I've had enough. Like, and you know, they're messing with my mom. They mess with me. Like, I've literally just had enough, and I'm trying to send that message.
Why do you bring up a gang member?
Because 45 minutes earlier, when I was sitting in the car with Katie, she told me that Luis Rivera was the head of the Latin Kings, and that's who the second extortion was, a Latin King gang member who was extorting my parents, which was actually the FBI, but it was.
Immediately after you say those lines, though, you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway. Why do you say that? You're being tough, and then you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I didn't want to scare her into thinking that I'm some kind of